don't you think most people just think, I hope I leave the world just a little bit better than I found it?
Welcome to the Know Your Ship podcast, presented by eHub. I'm your host, Frank Dolce.
Like, people think I work a lot. I just think I do something I love a lot. I kind of have this rule, like I'm on 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and I hear like, oh my gosh, you work so much. Because I don't take lots of days off. I take like increments of time off, which keeps me super balanced. So Wednesdays, I don't go into the office till almost 11 because I have a routine I do on Wednesdays. But I'm just always available. I'm out until the 7 to 7, unless I'm doing something with like my children or whatever. But I just feel like it's about the moments of time. So when I get home, you know, I'm like, hey, I'm an Alexa girl. Hey, Alexa, turn on classic rock. And I just kind of want to hear like some Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd. It just kind of starts to ease me into home.
Yeah.
Gets me integrated back in, make dinner. Kids come over. It's kind of, you know, it's like family time. We have game time, and game time, you got to ramp it back up because my children are adults. So, you know, the games we play are not little kid games anymore. They're kind of...
It's no shoots and ladders.
No,
I guess
that's for the 6-year-old, but...
Grandchild. I guess we ought to introduce our guest.
We should probably get to that point.
Preston.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hi, I'm Celeste.
She did it for us, Celeste Edmunds. She is the CEO of the Christmas Box International. She's an award-winning author. Is that fair to say?
Wow.
Where's the book?
I have won some awards, but...
There you go.
Yeah, they're mainly...
There you go. Point that at the camera. The garbage bag girl.
As I was 7 there.
Oh, so cute. And you have another book coming out.
I do. The Boy Who Was Raised in the Sunflower Patch. It's about resilience.
That's your... Is that
the boy?
The boy would be me. Well, would be me in boy form, but I do have a Y. Why a boy? Because people are like, you're a girl. You're right, I am. However, the book Garbage Bag Girl opened up a door that I didn't see coming, and that was the effects to men it would have. I was like, oh, it's naturally going to gravitate towards women and foster care kids. And you know what I mean? I had kind of like my idea of it. And I had, because the second to the most difficult chapter, but when I wrote it, it was the hardest at the time, was saying goodbye to my father, my biological father. I cried so hard, I just had to put the laptop down and just let it go. And so I have fathers that reach out, especially if they've been incarcerated and are out of prison. I've met at coffee shops, public places. I'm a safe girl. Spoken to groups that are formerly incarcerated. And it's for them, they thank me for sharing the father perspective of losing their children. Because we kind of just have this general take of, well, you're getting what you asked for, and karma really sucks. And I think there's just a little bit of a really bad rap, and some, I'm sure, very deserving of that, but I don't think all. And I also think, you know, love is love. And when I get to the nitty gritty of what's really bothering them, it's that they'll never know how to mend that gap that's been lost in that relationship that maybe doesn't exist still. And the moment I say to them, as a daughter of a father who was incarcerated, the one thing I can promise you wholeheartedly is they haven't stopped loving you.
Yeah.
They're angry at you, probably justifiably so, and on their own time, they're working through the things that you guys have managed or had to deal with. But the love is there, and I believe it's there, and I think they don't know how to work through that well, and they just sob. It's like they just want to know that they're still worthy of love, and I think everybody is. It doesn't justify bad behavior, but love is love. And so I've had a lot of people write me. And in child welfare, the workspace that I'm in, boys, little boys and teenage boys, just boys in general, are talked about significantly less than girls. It's poor little girls, and it isn't that they don't matter.
Supposed to be strong.
Yeah,
tough,
but But we just kind of overlook, and you can go through I'm sure your world too, Preston. There's just a lot of domestic violence and suicide and all the things that it happens to girls, and we want to talk to girls about it, and we feel more heartfelt about girls. And the reality is the statistics of things that happen to men are startling. And so the moment I had this cool inspiration, because I was at a writing retreat with the intention of writing the second book to Garbage Bag Girl, because, there's 25 more years of crazy Celeste. And the writing coach says, I'm going to give you a prompt. And she looks right at me and she says, you're probably not going to like it. I'm like, oh, well, then don't give it to me. Nobody likes to hear that. Mm-hmm. And she said, it's Once Upon a Time. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. If you've read my book, you'll know I'm really not a fantasy girl. I kind of get right to it. And she said, this is going to be really good for you. And the 2 days I've spent with you, I think this is going to be really good for you. So we happen to be in Moab, one of my favorite places. Go into the Red Rock, ground myself, meditate, big believer and all that. And I write Once Upon a Time, and immediately, once upon a time, there was a boy who was raised in a sunflower patch. I'm like, what?
Where did that come from?
Thank you, universe. I'm sure I'm supposed to be aligned somewhere here. And so I just write this little fable. And the next day, our last and final day with the group, we're supposed to pick something to read from our 4 days of retreating. And I tell the 12 people around the table, I'm like, I'm just going to read this silly little thing. It's no big deal. And I read it. And they're all super quiet. And, I'm like, they don't want to hurt my feelings. That's okay. It's fine. I've only written one book. Ease up. And the woman across from me says, that's amazing. And the one to the right says, I think you just wrote a children's book. And I'm like, oh, that's cute. I don't write children's books. Like I just, Garbage Bag Girl is like really not a kid's book. Mm-mm. Matter of fact, I recommend you be 16 or older with the parent consent. And my friend that invited me, sitting across from me, says, oh, Celeste, I don't think you know the woman to your right, but she's written 15 children's books, and she's a best-selling children's book author, and she's a children's editor. You might want to listen to her. And I was like, wow, Jennifer, thanks for the compliment. So I just decided to kind of go with it, and it took off. And my co-author, Richard Evans, and I started talking about my most favorite thing to talk about, which is resilience for human beings, and especially with children. Because, the one thing I don't think anybody's going to argue is that there's only one thing we have besides the story we haven't learned about each other yet that keep us similar. And that is we'll all experience change. Mm-hmm. It's the one common denominator we all have. People can avoid their taxes. They can not work. They can do all the things that we're all supposed to do. But change inevitably will happen. And that ability to adapt to it and move with the flow of that, and the skill set to do that productively, to me, is one of the greatest gifts we can teach our children and ourselves as we navigate a really tough world.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. Really looking forward to the second book. I'd like to try to accomplish two things in this podcast. One is, obviously, we want to know about you and your background and how you arrived here today. And we want to know about the Christmas Box International and how people can, learn about it and become involved with that organization. So if we can, let's just start with your role at the Christmas Box International. What is the organization? What is it all about? And then maybe we can go back to your story.
And what led you to that?
Absolutely.
When did you meet Richard, and how's that based on the book? That would be great for the listeners.
So the Christmas Box International is excitingly 29 years strong this year. We've served over 170,000 children, which is amazing. An enormous number to get your head around. So I tell people it would fill Madison Square Garden 7.5 times, because it or every stadium in Utah. It's a lot of children.
And that's all U.S.?
Yeah.
Is that international? Or?
It's all the things, 170,000 total. Okay. We serve about 14,000 a year now. We have 7 programs. People think of the shelters because they're visible, the Christmas Box houses. Mm-hmm. and critically important. They help children who have been removed from their homes. Parental rights have been removed for abuse, neglect, trafficking, or homelessness. Mm-hmm. And it does surprise people. They tell me we don't have trafficking in Utah, and we do. Actually, there's not statistically a state that doesn't. But we've had a 3-year-old come into the Christmas Box House emergency shelter for trafficking. So we do have that. And the uniqueness to the Christmas Box emergency shelters is not the shelter component, because Utah has a lot of shelters. The uniqueness is that we keep the whole child through the age of 18, and most shelters can only license through the age of 12 for children. And so what happens to the kids over the age of 12, like me and my brother and sister, they're separated. And if you're especially like me and you were the oldest and absolutely would have said you were the mom for many reasons, it's like losing your children, literally. And I didn't realize the depth of that until I was in my 30s, having my little midlife crisis, which is real. If you read my book, you would know 35 would be about right time to do that. And I had a therapist say to me, you lost your children. You didn't just lose siblings. And when I really started processing the depth of that loss, I was like, oh, that makes much more sense on how I feel about things and respond to certain things with my own children, and, all that comes with that. So we keep 1,000 siblings together every year between the 3 shelters in Moab, Salt Lake, and Ogden. And that's substantial. I think it's the greatest gift we can give them when they're going to lose everything else. Parents, oftentimes extended family members, the schools they're going to, all the stuff they leave behind, excuse me, all the stuff from whatever home they're in. They're going to come into the shelters with everything that they have on, is going to be it. So where do all their essential items come in? And that's where our nonprofit partners with the state. So the state is responsible for the day-to-day programming, housing, food, and then we partner with the community to bring all the essential resources: toys, books, clothes, hygiene kits, back-to-school items. I always tell people, if your kids need it, so do the Christmas Box House kids. And we provide that for the whole child when they come in, and then when they go to their next placement. So that means we process about $800,000 of in-kind donations a year. And not all children stay in shelter. Some will still just need services that the state offers families. And so we also provide items through those to those families. And we do that through our 22 resource rooms, which are located in 24 of our Utah 29 counties. We'll be in all 29 counties in the next year and a half, which will mean we will serve all 1,100 caseworkers in the state of Utah, meaning all children will have access to what they need through those caseworkers. Mm-hmm. So those are 2 programs that we have. This coming holiday season is our big Project ELF. We've already launched that, and that's to provide 3,000 children with Christmas. But our largest program sometimes surprises people, but 7,000 children a year we help through our partner share. And that is, in that $800,000 of items we process, we, recovering from a cold, apologize. Geez. We have a donation center in South Salt Lake where we process all that. And we have what we know is a life cycle of about 8 months, whether we will use an item or not. So once we source to the shelters, then we source to the resource rooms. It's about 8 months, and we kind of have this general idea like, okay, we don't need this to sit on the shelf and get wasted. It needs to go in the hands of a family. So we now have 123 community partners that basically come shop at our donation center in the spring and fall for whatever they need. If we have it, they can have it. And what's happening is this beautiful alignment and collaboration that Preston knows very much about. Is the moment you collaborate and align with other nonprofits, you recognize the shared resources you wouldn't have recognized staying isolated. We will have somebody come pick up donations, and I made what I thought was a remarkably funny joke 2 Christmases ago that we would get 700 Barbies. Well, we got like 600 and some change, and my programs manager was like, "That's what you're throwing into the universe, Celeste? Like, of all the things, you can put in there, maybe think of something else. What are we going to do with all these Barbies?" And I was like, "The partner shares. Someone's going to use them." And so we did use all those, but, and help share them out. But the beautiful thing was, we had a partner come in who said, we have this palette of like boys jeans. And I'm like, we didn't get one size 13 boy jean this entire holiday season. And they had like this whole palette of them. So that's what starts to happen, is just the shared space. And I think when we look at, what's going on now with lack of funding and pullbacks and government shutdown and just all the things, all the craziness, even and all that coming out of COVID, there's such a lack of resources already. And so for nonprofits to really kind of buck up and get creative and figure out how we work within a system we have, it really does start to pull that together, and you either get better or you fall behind. Mm-hmm. And we're going to see that, a lot in the next 12 to 18 months. Just unfortunately, nonprofits that for whatever reason or another are not going to survive. The Utah Nonprofits Association expects a good 75% will not survive it. And so we'll kind of see how that plays out. But
how does SNAP benefits play in? I know this is probably a question you're getting a lot this last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I think of like the food banks and how hard that is for them to need more. And then you have an economy that can't support more. And it's hard. It's very complicated. And we're already seeing with that program, families needing to come up with, even though we don't help with food and we help with other things, as they're realigning their budget for food, they're having a gap in the other items. And we're already having nonprofits reach out that we never heard from before, saying, hey, do you have anything to help us out? And that's how we get affected. And so with over 11,000 nonprofits in this community alone, Utah's one of the most philanthropic states, we're going to see pressures between each other. And I just kind of have this always overlooking view that it isn't about, you have to keep perspective that it isn't about competition, it's about collaboration. It's the wrong C that you're...
Yeah, cooperation is huge.
Yeah, cooperation, collaboration. It's necessary. Otherwise, we're going to fall in the nonprofit sector. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Christmas Box is that. We work with the state as our number one partner, and then other nonprofits to basically fill gaps. I always remind my team, that is why we exist. That's why we formed as a 501c3, is to look at gaps in the system. How do we take resources and allocate them where they're needed within mostly the child welfare space, in prevention or in crisis. And so I got involved because 31 years ago, oh my goodness, I started working for our founder, Richard Paul Evans. He wrote a little green book called The Christmas Box. And I was pregnant and about to be unemployed. And I had befriended a guy that worked for him, Craig. And I was basically just handing my resume out. I was 21. Yeah, so that was a long time ago. And I'm dating myself for sure. And I was like, just pass these out. Like, make it rain with my resume all over this building. And he did. And Richard Paul Evans came over, peeking his head in my office across the hall, like waving the resume, whispering, come talk to me on break kind of thing. And I was like, okay, I don't even know who you are. So I walk across the hall that afternoon, and he held up this little green book and he says, have you heard of this? Nope, sorry, sure haven't. And he's like, well, what's on this resume, I really need in terms of your ability to book travel around the world. And I'm about to go on a book tour and I don't know what I'm doing. And I really need these skills. And will you read it? I need you to read it tonight. And I was like, okay. So I went home and I said to my husband at the time, I think I just had the most bizarre job interview of my life, but I'm supposed to read this book. It's only 13,000 words. I'm going to get through it. So I read it. I go back the next day. He doesn't believe me, quizzes me. We still talk about that today. And I passed with flying colors. And he basically offers me a job. I tell him, hey, you can't see it yet, but I'm 5 months pregnant. So I feel like I need to throw that on the table. He's like, not necessary, but thank you. But it worked out well. I started working for him, and about 2.5 years in, so the Christmas Box itself is a miracle. He wrote that book for his, at the time, 2 daughters. Has 5 children today, but 2 daughters, as an expression of, I just want to tell them that I love them. He'd lost a state legislature by 1/10 of 1 point. He was a political marketing guy. I didn't know 1/10 of 1 point was a thing, but it is. And he decides to write this book. He prints 20 copies. He hands them out for Christmas. And within weeks, he starts getting calls about this book affecting people's lives. And he's like, I'm sorry, I don't know who you are. And they're like, well, I'm so-and-so, and I got the book from so-and-so. So he takes a steno pad, way before the phone day, and he kind of does the 1, 2, 3, 4, scratch 5, and he starts adding up how many calls he gets. And within about a 2-week period, he gets about 150 calls from people saying this little book changed their life. And he was like, wow.
Wow, that's crazy.
Something's happening here. Maybe I should self-publish.
This is before social media.
This is before social media, before Amazon.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody can imagine a world without Amazon. I get it.
Word of mouth.
Yeah, word of mouth. And so he says today, like, self-publishing is like being in the Olympics without a country. You kind of just run on the outside of the thing. But he didn't, you don't know what you don't know. Kind of like when we launched Christmas Box and we didn't know it would be hard to fundraise and build $2 million shelter. I mean, we didn't know. We were all really young. We were like, this is a need. And so he didn't know, and he tries to self-publish. We have this awesome binder of rejection letters, which is awesome now, but not at the time. And he decides, you know what? I can do it. He prints 20,000 copies. Like, who does that? Puts them in his garage, says, I'll have Christmas gifts the rest of my life. And finds a local distributor who, after 2 months, calls and says, I need more books. And they've gone through them all. So the book becomes the first book in history next to the Celestine Prophecy at the time to hit the New York Times bestseller as a self-published book. And then everybody wanted the book, miraculously. And he discovered this amazing agent who discovered the bridges of Madison County and was doing well. They partner up, and he receives at the time the world's largest author advance ever given. And him and his wife decide, wow, after financial advisors tell them they're going to wreck their children's lives with all this money, that they need to give back. And so I remember sitting around about 2.5 years into working for him. He knew enough about my personal story to start digging a little deeper about life in foster care. We decide we want to do something for children because the book's based on the loss of a child through death. And we partner with the U of U at the Graduate School of Social Work. We invite 160 child welfare advocates, and we literally have this super cool opportunity of having this influx of funding that's private and this very ironic need of Utah being sued by the National Center for Youth Law in California for the mistreatment of children. I know. We had children dying in the foster care system, and the governor at the time and our state human services department were being sued. And it was because we were basically taking children quickly. And as a police officer told us, I'm going to drop this kiddo off at the first place that answers the phone. Not a good idea. But we didn't have anything better. And I moved
compliance.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we were formed. The Utah Foster Care Foundation was formed as a nonprofit separate entity to recruit and retain foster families. And there was just a lot that came out of that. And we had this amazing moment of learning about collaboration, which was we first walk into this room of these 160 child welfare advocates, and no one was getting along. They were being weird about who sat next to each other. And I remember making the joke, like, not the doctor in the room. Like, I recognize I'm the young girl in the room, but I'm pretty sure this was part of my problem growing up. Like, I don't know. I'm just going to throw that out there. And that's really what was happening is there was the lack of collaboration, a lot of red tape, kids being moved very quickly into unstable environments. And so we launched the Christmas Box based on the name of the book initially. And today it's a blessing. We have these 7 programs and all these children that are getting served. But Richard and I looked at each other and said, this would be the one job that if one day somebody said, you don't have to have it anymore, it would be awesome. And unfortunately, that's just not going to be the case. Every year we get more children, They're harder to place because behavioral issues are increasing. And it's not going to go anywhere. And so we really do lean on our community to help us raise these children as a village, because I believe children should not be raised by a system and a structure of a shelter program. I think they're supposed to be raised by a family. They're supposed to be raised by a community and love and nurturing. And so in the absence of that, we bring them into the shelter, and we have no ability to change any trajectory of what's already happened in their life. But our motto is that every child that deserves a childhood. And the moment they step foot into our shelter, we very much can influence that. We can take an older child who parents their kids like me all the time, and let somebody watch those kids while they just play on a playground for 30 minutes. And they kind of eyeball over, like they keep an eye on the kids because they're used to it. But to see them go down a slide and do go on swings without having to watch their siblings is a new thing. And you kind of see their eyes light up like, oh, that's possible. That's hope. By the way, hope's a resiliency skill. So we just start to build, on those little things that they start to discover. New items come into the shelter. We don't take used. We take only new. And the alumni, this is a beautiful thing. The alumni now, after being 29 years strong, come back, and they always share about the new item that they got when they came, because it was the first new thing they ever had.
Yeah.
New Barbie.
See, those 700 Barbies. Usually it's a stuffed animal. They'll be like, I saw Ricky the raccoon, or whatever the stuffed animal's name is. Or that first outfit, which I liken to like us crazy moms that save the first outfit our kids come from home. Yeah, right. We all know what I'm talking about. And they didn't have that. They didn't have that level of connection. And they always, like me, borrowed and bartered and traded chores and did whatever they could to get that cute pair of shorts to visit their dad that Saturday. And when you don't have something that is ever your own, like ever, you grow up from just moving like I did with your stuff in a garbage sack every 6 months to believing your worth is nothing more than the stuff you put in it. So that leads me into your next question of why me?
You're uniquely qualified.
Why me?
To be in this position.
Well, as Nelson Mandela would say, why not you? But it's deeper than that. It's really about finding that thing that's going to connect you to what you're going to maybe do the rest of your life.
Did you see that as trajectory, or was it more like, no, I want to go do something else? How did that kind of work into your life?
Well, as a kid, I was certain that the only jobs I would ever would be being a wife and a mother. There would be no other use for me. And I say that in a, now that's a positive message, but at the time, in the way I felt about it, it was just a job that was going to be handed down to me, and that maybe would be all I would be good for, and whatever that would imply. And so that was my very quick path at the age of 17 of finding a guy and, staying with him and having children and all the things. And then I meet Richard Evans, and he was the first mentor that I had that said, you're a diamond in the rough and there's a lot going on there. And I think you're going to do big things. And I was like, that's really funny that you'd say that, because I've always been told growing up in foster care that not only are you lucky to get what you get, but you should live in the home and accept what you get, because older kids never get adopted anyway. And it's like, my mom, my book's dedicated to, used to tell her grandkids, get what you get and don't throw a fit. And it was kind of this little joke, but the reality is when you're in that system all the time, and that's how people treat you, it is how you start to treat yourself and what you expect you're going to do for your life. So when he first said it, I was like, yeah, I'm going to have to spend some time thinking about that. But I just started getting good at other things, organizing and rallying and taking care of people was never a hard thing for me, but I was like, maybe I'm a little bit more than that. And what do I want to do with my life? I did go to law school for about a year, left it because the guy asked me to, because that's what I do. If somebody says I need you, then I drop everything and go do what they need, and not for Celeste, not 2.0, not Celeste today, but the other Celeste. And so I didn't finish that. And then I just kind of kept plugging along, and every little job I had, I just figured out, we talked about grit a little bit offline, and that's another big deal for me is the getting gritty is really important. So I was used to having to take care of myself, and I just kind of kept figuring it out, trudging along, making money, doing what I could. Very low self-worth. And then the Christmas box moment happens where we have this child welfare conference, and I look at Richard and I said, oh, I went to open my mouth, and he says, I'm going to lose you to go do that. Right? And I was like, well, I'm not going that far. You're the chairman of the organization, but yes, I want to not be your personal assistant, and I want to go raise money, and I want to build these shelters, and I want kids to have a better life than I had. I want them to have a path for what that might look like. We can't change what's happened, but can we give them a path? Can we give them a vision? Can we give them hope? And literally the pre-social media days, I mean, you knocked on people's doors. And so that's what we did every day. We knocked on people's doors. We told them what we were doing. We asked them for a $10 check, which we got, which didn't move the needle fast, but it was awesome. And I just kept plugging away. And then about 9 years into the Christmas box, there were several reasons. One, I'd become a single mom, and I was like, yeah, it's probably the most money I'm ever going to make. So I went into corporate world, but I knew I didn't want to grandfather into it. I knew I'd want to end up back in it, but I knew that enough to know that I needed corporate skills. I felt that would be really important, and I needed to know that I could still put on my big girl pants every day and buck up and do something outside of this one person that gave me a shot. Mm-hmm. I kind of just still needed to know. So I moved in, I stayed on the board. So that was 9 years in, and I went into the corporate sector for 14, and and I started at ground zero. I mean, I was at the top of my game in nonprofit. I went to zero in the corporate space, very scared, massive pay cut to start earning back up. And I realized I was very good at creating corporate giving programs. And I was really great at mentoring young women to feel good in the boardroom with their male counterparts. And I was great at activating people and creating communication platforms. And so I just met another CEO who gave me a beautiful opportunity. I didn't have my bachelor's yet. And he said, I don't care. You're going to do this, believed in me. And so I think there's the message behind all that is the belief of somebody. When somebody has belief in you, you can believe more than yourself than in yourself sometimes. And sometimes that's enough to just spur you to like that next phase, is that belief. So I just kept plugging at it. And then about 5 years ago, Richard and Carrie Evans, called me and said, how about you come back as executive director? And I was like, it's time. You're right. So I did. So
it's like Simba grew up.
Yeah. But I had to have marketing and management and, the women in leadership was going to be a big deal because nonprofits is a big female dominated sector. And I wanted to be able to bring also this corporate mentality into the nonprofit sector. How do we love like a nonprofit, but work like a corporation? Oh, so and important. And I, with the marketing dollars and all the things that nonprofits have historically stayed away from, I'm opposite. If they're acquiring a sales customer, I'm acquiring a donor. Mm-hmm. And so, it's been fun to marry the two and to help, other young nonprofit leaders, like a gal that came to my office today. I spent time with her 2 weeks ago, and I spent more time with her today. I love to mentor young leaders who are learning the fundraising game, who are just learning to kind of navigate how to get in it, and help them with their first event that's coming this Saturday, how to fundraise. And it's a blessing. And I wouldn't change, if you read my story and you think, wow, that was hard. I get asked often, like, what would you change? And I wouldn't change one thing. I wouldn't change one awful thing if it altered what I get to do today. I would not do it because every single lesson, every single hardship grows us into who we hope we are going to become. Mm-hmm. And I mean, in everything that we do in life, don't you think most people just think, I hope I leave the world just a little bit better than I found it? I mean, just a little bit is a lot. Mm-hmm. 10% better. I mean, whatever, 2% better, but a little bit better than I found it. And the Christmas box does that.
Well, I think we could all benefit from having that sort of philosophy. I'm going to leave the world a little bit better than I found it. I think all too often these days we find out that people are more like, I want people to remember who I am. Like, and I don't know if that is aligned with leaving the world in a better place. Maybe you can align those two things. Speaking of alignment, we're not going to be able to talk about your story. And if you want to know Celeste's story, it's amazing. It's in this book. You should go pick it up. It is a fascinating story. But how has that, and it's a question I typically ask. You answered it. You wouldn't change a thing. Yeah. That's a tough thing to say and a tough childhood to overcome.
It took a while to say it. That didn't come fast.
Yeah. But how has that experience, what has that experience given you that makes you so qualified to do what you're doing today? And then I think the other thing that you talked about is leaving that where you had gained some comfort to go into the corporate world and kind of start over because you knew that you had to get some more training to really explode in your role. Well, I think
every time you're going to make a change, there's always the thought of you can make too many changes. Like my mom would say, okay, Celeste, so they say you should make no more than a few changes a year, and I can count 7 for you. Maybe you should pivot. She's counting. Yeah, she's like, maybe next year you can go ahead and add some more big changes. Because part of change for me on the unhealthy side is because I moved every 6 months. I also started moving after I became a single mom, moving my children every year. And it wasn't until, because that was comfortable for me. And change is comfortable for me. So I thought that, well, everybody would want to move once a year, right? Like, why would you not? Then it makes you not collect so much stuff you don't need. And you get a fresh start. And I'm all about fresh starts. January is my favorite month for that reason. I'm like, oh yeah, rip the Band-Aid off, throw it all out. And everybody doesn't do well with that. And nor should they. It's okay to also get grounded and root in. Now we can become too stagnant and stay too long. Yeah. Right. But I think also change is where growth is made. I think that's how we stretch. It's like when we talk about the muscles and all the things, that you were talking about. We have to have that. And it's what makes us adaptable and do well. But like my daughter finally came to me and said, Mom, cute. She was super little at the time. And she says, do you think we could just stay here a little longer? And I had that parent moment of, oh, you know what?
I found her village.
But she was basically kindly saying to me, stop moving us. And my mom called and said, hey, you know that every time your kids come over, they bring me stuffed animals because you have your every 6-month clean out and you make them throw stuff away that they don't use. And they're sneaking things over. And honey, some people attach to things. And don't get mad at them. But some people need to attach to things. And I didn't. For me, that's uncomfortable because that's just something I have to let go of.
Yeah. Was that part of the reason you named your book Garbage Bag? Because you can fit it all in one bag and then...
And I moved every 6 months with my stuff in a garbage bag. And that one black garbage bag became the only thing that was constant next to the sunflower, which is about the next book. Mm-hmm. Is that garbage bag was mine. It was new when I got it. It was, nobody cared to even take it. It's a garbage bag. Mm-hmm. And I had this very ceremonious moment of getting rid of it years back. There might have been fire involved. I'm not going to say out loud, but Now I wish I would have kept it. I would frame that.
Put on the wall.
Because I had so much shame about being garbage bag girl, and today I have so much pride. And I would absolutely be framed in my office, that garbage bag.
Like
but, it was meaningful at the time.
For you, right?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
So, in a nutshell, the meaningful part of my work and why that all my life mattered to doing what I do today is because in order to live a very purposeful driven, a life on purpose, you have to find that thing that drives you. And oftentimes it is your story. More than not, it's your story. And if you can find a piece of that story that allows you every day to share, man, your world's ahead of people that are just mundane, doing that same thing they hate. And Garbage Bag Girl is that. It's the story of the children we serve, because people don't get to meet them. They're confidential. You rarely meet those children that you come serve at our shelters. So Garbage Bag Girl gleans some insight and helps people understand who they're giving to, who those kids are.
Yeah, and you just have this understanding of what they're experiencing.
Yes.
And what they're going through.
When they come to the shelter, and especially if they're in the 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old age where my book mainly focuses on, yes, it's still triggering. I get asked that all the time. Like, is it hard? Very, very hard. But I've also learned the skill sets to manage that, which is really, really important for, I think, anybody to learn, is that your triggers are kind of your little best friends that are just reminding you of something you haven't managed yet. You don't be afraid of those.
It's so interesting. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I know you have something on your mind, but so we're talking, this is the eHub Gives a Ship. This is our nonprofit.
Great.
I know. Our nonprofit podcast. The other podcast that we do is eHub Know Your Ship. And we talk to business leaders and, foundational business principles. And one of the things we talk about regularly, lots of things, overcoming obstacles in the corporate world. The obstacle is the way, grit, resilience, and alignment. I think that's so interesting that you talked about that alignment, because you have taken your life experience and aligned it with your now purpose in life. And that, and like you said earlier, it's not like you go to work. You enjoy what you're doing.
It's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle. And if people could find that in their life, I mean, how much more productive and happy and fulfilled all of us.
Yeah,
it's like work-life balance doesn't exist. It's just life balance.
It's just life balance.
Take out the word.
Yeah, I agree.
It is. It is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that can be kind of scary too, to try and find that, because you're in a job, maybe you make good money or you're comfortable or whatever, but are you really aligned? Do you love what you're doing every day?
Yeah.
I think that's amazing, and that you found that alignment. And we always talk about that, how important that is.
But even in your work, it's also, you're seeing resilience, but you're also seeing really hard.
Yes.
Really hard, really difficult.
Oh,
so it's like,
my gosh. Yeah. It's very hard. And so my office is across from a break room and staff break room. And sometimes that break room has to be used for parent visit room because the other one on the other side is full. And my door's always open. And so is that break room. And it's literally kitty corner, like 5 steps. And it inevitably, and this is just because this is how the universe works, I will be sitting at my desk and I will start hearing a 7, 8, 9-year-old begging their mother to stop using drugs so they can go home. Begging. And somebody that hears that on the outside is like, yeah, just stop using. Really not that simple. There's a lot going on in their life. There's a lot with, the substance abuse world that they're trapped in. So mom's crying. She doesn't know how to communicate why that's hard. 8-year-old who has 2 younger siblings is just frankly pissed because now they're the parent and they're like, get it together. And, and I'm immediately like, oh my gosh, I was totally that girl. And I'm remembering that conversation. And I'm filling up my body as it is right now. It will physically just start to alter. And I take my deep breaths in and out through my nose. And I remind myself that I'm safe, that I have a life of purpose, that I'm loved, and that it is a blessing that these children can stay together and that we have what we have. This is not a negative experience. This is a blessing. And I just have to take the moment to remind myself, because my initial body reaction is run for your life as fast as you can. Go get in your car, go home, and do not sit here. That's just, and that's with all things in life. The moment something hits us, it's a natural reaction to not want to be in it. People don't want to be uncomfortable. I mean, why do you want to be uncomfortable?
Nobody does.
But if you can't sit in the uncomfortableness and you can't navigate your path through, you can't grow on the other side. You can't come to the place of realizing I wouldn't change a thing, because you're still running from it. Which is the greatest lesson I learned with my book, is I just had not processed everything I'd been through until I wrote that book.
So when you see your 8-year-old Celeste here, why did you choose this picture? And then what would you tell your 8-year-old self?
Well, one, there was only 2 to choose from because I didn't have pictures as a kid.
Found it.
Yeah. So we found 2. And what you don't see that you do see in the book is my little sister is standing to the side, holding my hand, looking up at me, the sister that I protected or tried to. And so that picture immediately went to how I felt when I was raising her, basically. Like that was the epitome of Celeste right there. And I wanted to show that. I wanted to show that she was being brave, which is exactly what I say to her now. We don't have time to go into it, but there's a model called the adult chair. And it's a process that you can go through to do just this, which is your healthy adult is speaking to your child or the teenager. It's always one or the other, right? You're either not seen as a child or you're throwing a fit as a teenager, and we act those out in adulthood. Think about any argument you get in and ask yourself what age you're at when you feel that way. And you're going to be a little kid and you're not feeling seen, or you're going to be a teenager and you're throwing a temper tantrum. It's always one or the other. So as soon as I was taught this model, which is remarkably helpful, because I can even be driving down the road and I'm like, I can't believe I have to have this annoying conversation with someone on my team. Like, we've talked about this 6 times and I'm having the moment we all have.
Convulsion moment.
Right? And I'm like, okay, how old are you right now, Celeste? 15. Okay. You're not feeling heard. What are you going to say to your 15-year-old? And so for my 7-year-old in this picture, it was the very first experience I had with the adult chair, and my coach, it's not a therapist, just a coach. She takes you through the whole process and she says, I want you to approach, so you're a healthy adult. I want you to approach that 7-year-old. Tell me what she's doing. I said, she's looking at toys, wishing she could play, but she can't. She's got to watch her siblings and make sure they're safe. Great. Would you like to approach her? Sure. So this is like a 15-minute process, right? By the time I nerve up to go approach her, she says, does she want a hug? Nope, she doesn't want a hug. Okay. Respect the boundary. It's a good lesson. Please tell her that she did a really good job and she can be done now. And that's what I told her. You did a really good job, Celeste, and you can be done. You're done. You can be done with that job. And the lift that came, I would have never thought. I would have never seen that coming, because I didn't know it was a thing. I didn't know I was holding all that energy, but she helped me through it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was still upset that I abandoned them, which I didn't. I was taken away. They were taken away from me when I was 8. And I still felt bad as a mom that I left them. And I finally got to tell her, you did a really good job and you get to be done. So
can you interact this way with the kids who are in? Yeah.
If I get the opportunity.
Can you see that happening? Can you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We had an autistic boy who was 10 come into the shelter, and they're harder to place with the family, not just because they're autistic, but they're very protective of their younger siblings, because they happen to also be very intelligent. And he was watching his siblings play. And I just had this moment of like, here's that moment. You get to go talk to him. So I walked over, I sit down where he's sitting because I always go down to their level. And I was like, hey, buddy, what's up? And he's trying to, excuse me, he's just trying to be all cool about it. Oh, nothing. In good 10-year-old fashion. Just watching my sister play. I was like, well, that's cool. Is she happy? Oh, yeah, she's happy. I was like, are you happy? No, I don't get to be happy. I was like, why don't you think you, and this is where my favorite philosophy of getting curious kicks in. I was like, why don't you feel like you get to be happy? And he says, well, because I'm not supposed to be loved. He's 10 years old. And I was like, so does your sister get to be happy? Oh, yeah. She gets to be so happy. And I get to make sure she's happy. I was like, does she get to be loved? Oh, yeah. I was like, do you love her? I love her the most. I mean, he's just like 10, and he's so brave. I said, so if she gets to be happy and loved, why don't you? Like, what makes you totally different from her? What sets you apart? You're just not the same. And he didn't know. And he just sat, and all of a sudden he just kind of laid his head on my leg. He just wanted comfort. And I just rubbed his shoulder and I said, buddy, at your age, there wasn't a Christmas box house. And so I was living with, just whoever family I could live in. And I had a little brother and sister too. And I made sure they were always happy. But I never made sure I was happy. And you know what happened? I didn't get to be happy until I was really big. And I missed out on getting to be happy. And I really hope that you think about what we talk about today and realize how loved you are and how much you have every right to be loved. And he started crying. And he said, I will. I'll think about it. And it's kind of a, for me, it was equally healing because it was a reminder of sometimes what I forget as well, that I also don't deserve it. And I think what happens is it's like the little seeds that we just plant. We plant seeds with every person we come in contact with every day. And we don't know what those seeds are, but they're either positive or negative. And those positive seeds, guaranteed what happens is they walk away thinking how that person made them feel. And, when we were talking earlier about leaving the world a better place, I don't think a whole bunch of people are going to remember me personally. That's not what's important, but I'm pretty sure they're going to remember how I made them feel.
Yeah.
And that matters way more to me. Like if they have that little touch of, God, I really smiled a lot when Celeste was in my life, or she told me I was special, but I actually felt it, or she gave me a really good hug, or I don't know, whatever that is. And I never see you again. I really would want you to remember that feeling that you had and know that you're deserving of that. And so that's what I personally try to help the kids at the Christmas Box House know if I get that opportunity.
What a turning point for that.
And it's so healing for me. And I know it's got to be healing for them. They just may not see it at that very second, but you're going to feel it later.
And it reminds me of that t-shirt. I think you may have had one, Frank.
Probably.
He who dies with the most toys wins. Do you remember that kind of 90s t-shirt?
Used to have it.
I still. But I saw one, I don't know, and it said, he who dies with the most friends wins. They'd replace toys with friends.
Funny.
I thought that's
interesting.
We should do that.
That's good.
We should have that.
Yeah.
We should have that shirt. You were going to ask a question, and I kind of wanted to ask it, but you go ahead and ask it.
Well, this is probably totally different than your question. My question is about the system, foster care system. So, as I understand it, I think a foster care, it's like $20 a day. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Ish, yeah.
Ish.
Depending on what level you are, yeah.
So if you were to say, okay, you had a magic wand and you could change the system foster care, is there one specific thing that you're like, man, if we could just do this, this would really just change the game? I know there's a lot of big push for more foster parents.
There always is, because unfortunately we won't ever have enough. We always have. We won't. The amount of children that are removed at the pace that we are obligated, Yeah, it's not possible. So the shift in kinship being the priority, the family being the priority, that was not the priority when I was in the system in the 80s, is massive. We also have something now that didn't exist that started happening post-COVID, which is what are called like the family meeting. But it isn't just the immediate assumed family. It's the family that the lives belong to the children. So they're removed, and you may have biological, you may have uncles and aunts, but you might have the school teacher. You might have the coach. You might have the guy at the church, your priest or whomever that, wherever you go to church, your church leader. Whoever is influential in the life of the child becomes that family unit, because it is what it is. And they pull together. It's now required that family meeting happen to talk about the best interests of the child. And that's significant. We definitely have made massive changes. When Utah was sued, we were considered one of the worst states in the nation for the treatment of children. Utah. Like, it's kind of hard to believe.
Right.
Now, we are considered one of the best, ironically. We're not the best in terms of we have no room to grow. We do. To me, the biggest problem is all the red tape. And it is created by this, like, I don't think the system is broken. A lot of people do. I don't. I think it's complicated. I think we have a lot of people, mostly good people, that just want to do great things for kids. Like, I just fundamentally believe that to be true. Even though every bit of the system failed me 100%, by the way, I still believe that to be true.
There weren't as many safety nets probably at that point too.
Yes.
That there are now.
Yeah. Yeah. And those safeguards were not created, which is what the lawsuit forced. So the things that fall through the cracks, the kids that still get hurt, it's because there's so many barriers that the state itself has. I mean, you take even caseworker pay, right? How interesting is it that we're mandated by law to take children that are abused, right, out of their home, but we're not mandated to pay those caseworkers
a living wage.
Yeah. There's talk about misalignment. Yeah. There's no alignment in that. So people ask why we don't take government money as a nonprofit. One, I don't like to get into the weeds of how that's managed. I like a lot of freedom and flexibility. And second, and I don't want to not rely on it, all the things. And second is, if I'm going to go, which I have twice, to the legislature and ask them for money, I'm asking for caseworker money. We are not a direct service provider. We fill the gaps. And I have a lot of creative ways in which I can do that. They don't. They pick up a child. 50% of them work a second job because they don't make enough money. They do the hardest work you could possibly have. I mean, who wants to sign up to make a decision to take a child out of their home? Not me.
There's no big bonus.
I can't even think of a more difficult job.
There's no sign-on bonus.
No, then making that decision on whether that child or children should stay in a home. I mean, it's complicated. So when I think about like what I would change, I would really try to figure out where the biggest complications are and how to diminish those. It is very hard. But what I wouldn't do...
always hard. Going upstream for something that's...
Yes.
It's really hard in your day-to-day.
Yes. I would tell you easier what I wouldn't do, and it is I wouldn't condemn people. I wouldn't condemn a system that is trying very hard to do right for kids. It's not perfect. Nothing is. We have a long way to go. But I can promise you the right people with the right hearts are trying very hard to do that every day for these kids. And you can't keep working on a system when a child's not supposed to be in a system. So to me, it's why the resiliency piece is such a big deal. What we have to do is teach them how to survive outside of that. Because they're going to land in that anyway.
Yeah. But what about the states that don't have a Christmas box house?
Yeah, they all have shelters.
Yeah.
It's just not necessarily modeled in the same way. But the hardest part about shelter care, so its technical term is congruent care, anything that's in a group home setting, can be very frowned upon, and it's not a stable model. A lot of people in the community don't want it. They don't want the heartache of it coming in their neighborhood. And so it's hard to scale it. Unless, you're the other side and you've brilliantly figured out how to work with earning money and, they can make a life for themselves, which is, if Christmas Box wasn't my favorite, it's the other side for the record.
Likewise.
Love Brothers.
How do you go into these cities though and tell your story so that they will embrace you? Because once you're there, they're so glad you're there. They don't want you to leave. So
typically what I'm personally asked to help with is not creating shelters because nobody wants to get behind it. Like they philosophically do. Mm-hmm. They're like, that sounds great. We want to bring all those services. Like we have dental, childcare visits. We have all the services we try to bring to this under one roof. It sounds amazing, and it is. And we have a lot of great statistics, but it's not going to be scalable because it's shelter care. So that's why the resource rooms and the collaboration is very scalable. That's much more of a focused model I can talk about that's doable. But it really, for me, is about when I get asked to speak, it's can you speak to families or children in the system on what they can do and what can the community do to support. Mm-hmm. It's rarely, a system change takes about 10 years.
Easy, or more.
And especially in child welfare, it takes about 1 decade to make a major systemic change. Nobody's got time for that. These are real kids. There's 500,000, 500,000 children in the foster care
system.
system.
Whole childhood. I mean, that's...
Yeah. So we don't have time for that. By the time they're 1, they're going to be 10. And so I think
aged out.
Like our first lady, Abby's fantastic, as you know. She's really big into the prevention stuff as we are, and helping families step up to support families that are supporting families. Like if you can't take kids, you can probably help families who do, and there's ways for you to do that. And so I just think those models are going to be our best solution.
I was just going to ask you about that. How meaningful is it for people outside in the community to be involved? Is that something that you welcome? Absolutely. And is that challenging to get more people involved?
I don't think it's challenging from the perspective that I think most people want to give. They just don't know how.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
That was exactly what I said to Preston.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
It's like you, specifically with the homeless population.
Yes.
I drive by to the gym almost every day and I see tents and this and that, and you don't know what to do. Like, getting it, the hardest part about getting it involved is like, I don't know what I'm like, how do I do this? So providing that opportunity.
And I think supporting nonprofits is the best way because they're filling typically an 80% gap in a system with 20% on their team. It's going to be always hard. It's just a hard business to be in. It is a lifestyle. And so I always tell people partner with nonprofits who are already putting resources and dollars and time into systems that work, as opposed to walking up and handing the man the $10 on the street.
Right. Absolutely.
Give it to the program that's going to help them.
Yeah.
There's still ways to give. It's not the giving to homeless is wrong. It's giving to the right people, I think, who are going to make the better decisions
on how to manage that.
So for you, like, living on the street, accepting those cash payments, good, bad, otherwise for you?
So when we probably touched every aspect of the system, I'm very familiar with them all. And I would say, I couldn't guarantee I could guarantee that my mom wasn't going to spend that dollar wisely.
Yeah.
But when we went to the food bank, and we stood in line at the food bank, especially if it was Bacon Day, because it was like special occasion.
Bacon Wednesday.
Yeah. Like as a young girl, I learned how to take that food and break it up and maximize it, which is why I can't waste anything today, into 2 weeks. I knew how to make 2 weeks worth of meals at the age of 7, started at 5, learned by the time I was 7 to be very efficient at it. I knew going to school lunch, I would be able to save school lunch and my sister would have an afternoon snack when I got home. Like you get really creative working that part of the system, but that's a system that is also healthy because it's providing nourishment and shelter and, the things that are going to make people productive I'm not a fan of handing the dollar to someone that doesn't know how to manage the dollar. I just, I'd rather go get the food and bring the food to them.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's so well said.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of giving the dollar to someone who doesn't know how to manage the dollar.
It isn't that they're not deserving of the dollar.
No,
it's not even. It's not about that. We're not judging that. We're just not getting into the weeds of that.
Yeah.
It's about what's the most constructive way. And I'd rather walk into the McDonald's, get a breakfast meal, and then hand them the meal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or go in there with them, sit down and have a conversation.
I've done that too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I actually love that.
I feel like I kind of feel like a loser.
You shouldn't. It's not for everyone. Not everybody has a comfort level. But I don't have this fear of people like a lot of people do, because I moved every 6 months, and I can promise you I've seen every walk of life. Mm-hmm. And I just don't have walk on the other side of the street. That freaks me out. Not from like a naive standpoint, like I'm going to put my purse where it should go. But I don't avoid people like that.
Well, you have a significant different experience. Like, I think a lot of us feel like you've lived your whole life outside of a short period in the nonprofit. I keep wanting to say charitable, and then you harassed me, so I say nonprofit.
It's just a tax designation difference. So for-profit, nonprofit,
and nonprofit.
Right.
But you have experience, and you have life experience. Yeah. And I think for people who haven't had that life experience, it's like you said, everybody wants to help. It's like you don't know how. Yeah. How am I going to take somebody into a restaurant and sit down, and what is our conversation going to be? What is the appropriate thing to ask? What is the inappropriate thing to ask? How do you even have that kind of conversation?
So many worthy causes too.
Yeah. There are so many worthy, and they're all worthy. And I think it's okay. Pick one. Pick any of them, and you can do a small thing every day. You can kind of baby step in. It's like when I walk out of a restaurant and I have leftover food, I just find someone I can hand it to. It's like that initial, especially if you're downtown. I can easily find someone to hand that leftover. If I walk out of Squatters or something, I can easily find someone to hand that meal to. And it's kind of a first little I did my part. I don't think anybody should ever get into the business of like comparing their part to someone else's. I think that's dangerous. Mm-hmm. Some people give time, some people give money, some people share a message on social media. It really all matters. All involvement matters. I just truly believe that. I think we dig deep, we figure out how to give in a way that matters to us, and it's enough.
I think
I just believe that.
I love it.
And I think people are sometimes fearful of what they don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So if you have grown up in an environment that was very safe, which is awesome, very secure, organized, all the healthy things, and then you walk onto a street and that is completely opposite, you very much might have a reaction to be fearful of something you don't know. Mm-hmm. And I think it's okay to, I love the be curious model, right? Ask yourself, why do I feel uncomfortable? What am I most scared of right now? Mm-hmm. And usually what you define as being your most scary is not going to be as scary as you think it is.
Yeah.
I just don't think we pause to take the time to be like, why does that scare me?
But you got to be smart and wise too. Like,
yeah.
There's streets that even you work in the business, that's probably not the safest place to go.
Yeah, you're not going to just go waltzing down the middle of the night and
hand out burritos
in Tentville and hand out burritos. Yeah.
You know what?
You have to be smart, but yeah.
This is a great transition, I think, because we like to do kind of 3 random questions in the middle of this somewhere. Mm-hmm. And I am now really curious to see how you would manage some of these 3 random questions.
I feel like it's a test.
It's not a test.
There's no right or wrong answers?
No.
Okay, good.
Not at all. Who would you consider the most influential historical figure in your life?
Historical figure.
Mm-hmm.
Not influential, just historical.
No. Yeah, influential and historical. Like, if you look back and said, well, for example, like right now for me, it's George Washington. I tell everybody this. I'm reading this book on George Washington, and it's unbelievable. So, like, that would be one I would consider, like, an influential historical figure in my life.
Who's yours, Preston?
What did I tell you? Do you remember?
Yes, but it's embarrassing because I think you said it was me.
Yeah. Frank was up there. Frank's my hero.
Was that it?
It's close. I think it was Abraham Lincoln.
It was Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Who would be mine? I have my most influential.
Well, let's do that. Who's your most influential?
Viola Davis, the actress.
And how is that?
She is.
In which movie?
I know, right? That's the murder one's pretty good. No. So she also wrote her memoir, and reading it helped me write mine. It was very, very empowering. She's very self-made. Lived in homes with rats and you name it. And the way that she describes as you move through life, and it's not just doing what's right, but the fact that you have a responsibility to do better. It's part of a human responsibility to do better. And then she had so much bravery in writing it, and she teaches you through her writing to be brave in your own way. And it really taught me an important lesson, which is we don't have to be brave to choose brave. You don't just have to be a brave person. You can choose to be brave, even on the days you don't, you're not.
Yeah.
You choose it.
Yeah.
And so I'm a big fan of, if there's one person I could ever meet, it would probably be her. Because I don't think I could even write a letter and tell her thank you and she'd get it. But if I could tell her to her face, I would. That she greatly influenced a really hard time in my life when I was writing my book. And it was a lot of work for me. And so, I follow her. I'm a big fan on Instagram, all the things. She's very empowering for me. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
You have one?
I'm debating which one to ask. I've got a couple. Let's go with this one.
You just had 3 questions.
Well, there's a few. Let's go with this one.
Sometimes it turns into
the 3 in which you want to ask of the list.
Yes,
okay.
We have.
Gotcha.
It could turn into a dozen random questions. You never know.
I'll start with this. Did you dress up for Halloween? Did you wear a costume?
Yes.
What did you dress up as?
So the first Halloween party was Day of the Dead, and we killed it. Me and my partner.
Okay.
We killed it.
You dressed as Day of the Dead.
Yeah. So you
just.
Oh, I thought you were saying Halloween is Day of the Dead.
No, that was the theme. That was the theme of the party. So we had to do the whole.
Oh.
My best costume ever was Kill Bill Uma Thurman.
Volume 1, 2, 3.
1 in the yellow suit, and my son was John Wick. And let's just say we got kicked off of Facebook for pointing weapons at each other.
Oh God.
Oh.
Can you believe it? I know.
I can't believe that. And
come on now.
I was just on an airplane on an extraordinarily long flight. You ever have those?
I'm glad you got home because
thank you.
TSA's
they're closing 10% of the flights are getting ready to go.
I'm not kidding. We squeaked in under the radar with the radar. Well, okay, so I watched a documentary on the making of John Wick, on the making of the John Wick movies.
With Keanu.
Oh, I've got to see if my son's seen that.
You have to see it. How old's your son? Oh, wait.
30.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, my kids are big.
Yeah, okay. It's
his favorite series.
He might really enjoy it. There are 2 things that came out of it. One is it's a really interesting story about how John Wick, the story evolved, and all of the characters that are part of it, and how odd Keanu Reeves is. Mm-hmm. He's so weird.
He's such a good dude.
But he's always described as like the best person.
He goes to cities and goes and visits homeless shelters without any notice.
He's always found at the most bizarre places, sitting with people that anyone would.
Paparazzi finds him on a park bench having a burrito with someone that's just like that.
I think that is his superpower. But I will say this: please watch the documentary, and then
we're watching that.
You should, and then I'd love to follow up and hear what your thoughts.
I'm totally gonna watch it.
Reeves. To pound for pound. Here's my next question.
Yeah.
Pound for pound. Nicolas Cage or Keanu Reeves? Who is the best, worst actor in America?
Nicolas Cage by far is the worst actor ever.
But is he the best, worst actor?
Well, yeah, because he makes his own movie about it. I mean, you got to do it, right?
Is that a great movie, though?
My son made me he gets me into these bizarre shows. He's like, Mom, this is so funny. I'm like, your version of funny and mine are really different.
Super different. What is that called? The unbearable weight of being Nicolas Cage or something like that?
Leaving Las Vegas. Wasn't he in that one?
He was in that one as well.
But did you know that? Yeah. He literally wrote a movie.
Yeah, about himself. Yeah.
About himself being an actor.
Yeah. And it's hilarious.
You've seen it.
It's hilarious.
So entertaining.
It's so weird.
It's
the whole
so weird.
concept is so weird that you can't help but laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're going with Nicolas Cage.
Hands down the worst actor.
But the best worst actor.
But obviously the best worst actor.
The best worst actor in America.
For sure. He's for sure the best worst.
Those two, Keanu Reeves. And I love the John Wick movies. I love them. All right.
Keanu Reeves I just like to watch.
Yeah.
In general.
Wait.
He's cute.
Oh, that's where I was headed, and then I paused because I thought maybe that would be.
He plays the doctor.
I think it's important. Yeah, when you look at your favorite actresses and actors, you differentiate. Are they a good actor, or do you just like to look at them? And that's okay.
Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise?
In terms of which?
Like
worst actor?
No.
That's Mission Impossible or.
Like, I don't think Tom Cruise is a great actor. I think
Who's more appealing? Who's more appealing to you?
By far, Brad Pitt.
I've asked this question several times. I think we're like 95% Brad Pitt. People go with Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
I did like F1. That was a good movie.
But I like the crew chief in that movie, who was his love interest. I thought she was really good.
Yeah.
You would.
Anyway, do you have another random question?
Oh,
you have one good.
I like that. That was a good kind of.
And why didn't you ask me about my favorite women actors? Why did we go right to men? Because I'm female.
Okay, I'll ask her that. It's a good one.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about
favorite women.
Let's talk about female actresses.
Wait, was that offensive that I asked you about?
Absolutely not offensive. It was curious because I want you guys to say yours. So it's rhetorical.
Oh, my favorite female actress?
Yeah. I'll tell you mine if you tell me yours.
My favorite female actress.
And is it because...
It used to be Michelle Pfeiffer.
Because she's cute or because you think she's a good actress?
I mean...
It's a worthy question.
Glenn Close may be the most, like, in terms of being an actress.
Because she threw the bunny in the
because
water?
She's so, like, she's a really compelling actress. I would not put her, I don't think she's appealing.
So it's appealing versus,
Michelle Pfeiffer was like, had kind of both of the things. Grease, I don't know if you ever saw her in Grease too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Catwoman, like maybe, I know there's this debate, but for Catwoman, there's no question, Michelle Pfeiffer, number one. It's like Michael Jordan or LeBron James. Michael Jordan, of course. There's no question. So Michelle Pfeiffer was I think she was for a long time my favorite.
I think she was a lot of people's
actress.
Mm-hmm.
And who would that be? I don't know. There's lots of talented people. Who is your favorite actress?
My girl crush is Charlize Theron, hands down. Just
she played some really hard parts, and she's a great person. She's beautiful. I think she's a great actress. But Viola Davis would probably be one of my favorite actresses in terms of hard roles. But if you ever saw Charlize Theron played a role based on a true story called Monster.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
that was
okay. You win.
Yikes.
When they
Did she win an Academy Award?
I don't know if she won or was nominated for something, but very deserving. I think when an actor or actress completely
transfigures themselves,
who they are. They look different. They have to really study and play the part. There's a series out called The Penguin, and it's those gangstery.
Yeah.
And it's is it Tom Hardy?
Tom Hardy's unbelievable. Yeah, I agree.
I think he's the one that plays the Penguin, and oh man.
Yeah.
I would recommend anybody see that. It's so good.
I think Tom Hardy is good in almost anything.
Because I like the shows that like play with the mind. Make you go, I don't think I'm supposed to like the character, but I kind of do.
But you're kind of into it.
Yeah, I'm confused. Yeah.
Is there? So this will be my final. Is there a TV series that you watched that you just binged start to finish in like 24 to 48 hours?
Peaky Blinders.
Peaky Blinders.
Peaky Blinders was very compelling.
It's so well done.
I have not seen it.
You haven't? Mm-mm. I think you would. I think you would like it. Okay. I think it's really interesting.
Based.
Who's the lead in that? It's
loosely based on the true story of the Peaky Blinders in the Depression era, and the movie really sinks you into how hard it was in so many ways, and it has the gangster flair, and it's pretty brutal. So I don't know if it's for everyone, but I really liked it. I liked all the aspects about it. It can be a little hard to watch, but whatever. Mm-hmm. The main actor, I just forgot his name. The guy
I can't remember his name.
Peaky Blinders.
It's right.
Why did I just?
It's right on the tip of my tongue.
Cillian Murphy.
Oh,
yeah. He plays Thomas Shelby.
Okay.
Thomas Shelby's the head.
Yeah, he's good.
He plays in a lot of shows.
He plays some. Yeah, he's a good actor too.
He's really good.
He's a good weird character. Look at that. You know what I mean?
He was in Batman. Wasn't he in Batman? Yeah, he was in one of the Batman.
Yeah.
He plays the evil guy. What's his name?
Yeah.
One of those evil guys.
I mean, he just looks like he could play a bad guy.
Yeah, he looks like a bad guy. Do you think you're attracted to the bad guys? Like that's your thing?
For sure. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
You have a shot.
You're so funny. Yeah, which has gotten me in a lot of trouble in my past. I'm settling into that's not the best plan for Celeste.
You like to live on the edge.
I do. I
like
love
training.
I love to skydive. Mm-hmm.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
You go solo?
What?
No, because you have to do it a lot, and I only do it once a year.
What? Okay, last one.
My mom's like,
turned into 17 random questions.
Why do you jump out of a perfectly good plane at 11,000 feet? My mom just can't get her head around that.
What is the thing you're most afraid of?
It's not an adrenaline thing. It's a loss of one of my children.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's not.
Kids always win.
That's not fun for me. Yeah,
no.
It really makes me.
But you had that experience as a sibling.
Don't test me with anything. Test me with anything else, but not that.
Not that thing.
Yeah, because it's
that's a traumatic.
We've in working for Richard Evans for 30 years. There's so much premise. His first book was on that. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. We have hundreds of angels based on the book that are placed in cemeteries throughout the world, like hundreds of them now. And every December 6th at 7 p.m., no matter the time zone, people who have lost children get together. It's quite beautiful, but the amount of heartache, and I think of everything I have capacity for, it's the one thing I don't think I could be tested on. It's I'm like, I'm a believer that a little bit in the God doesn't give you things you can't handle, but that might be it.
But that
might be my over the edge thing, because I've met people that have lost multiple children, and I am like, I don't know how you function.
Yeah,
and my son and I talk about that because he's a dad now, and he's like, yeah, Mom, I don't know how that. I'm like, well, if you have other children, you get up function for other children. And that might be the only thing, but it's sad. But for me, that's my biggest fear. Mm-hmm. I don't fear death. I don't fear I don't know.
That's the thing.
That's the thing. Please don't make me go through that.
Well, you know what? I've really enjoyed this conversation. Like, this has been fascinating and so
Wonder Woman real life.
Insightful. No, it's like it is like you just don't know until you know. Like the life experience and the overcoming and the impact that your
organization makes,
and the drive and the determination, all of the amazing things that you've accomplished. And we really appreciate you being here.
It's been one of the funnest podcasts ever. You guys are so fun.
Is it
another question?
Is it me?
It's not me. It's you.
Am I more fun? Or
it's not me.
Is it Preston?
It's not a popularity.
Well, Preston and I have been friends for a few years now, and through the nonprofit sector, but just become friends. And if he calls, I go. Like, I feel like he only leads. He only leads me to the right places.
Did you get choked up because you weren't being truthful just now?
Yeah, right. My
need some water.
My internal self was like, whoo, when he calls, I better go.
Okay, President.
Out of office.
I want you to ask the question because I think that's the perfect last question to ask about.
You guys like read each other's minds?
Well, he said it earlier, but I want him to ask it about if you had advice for someone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So and this could be relevant to any organization, nonprofit, for-profit. What advice would you give to the next generation of leaders?
Sit down and breathe more. Take a deep freaking breath. Like it's going to work out.
Enjoy the ride.
Like everybody says it goes by fast, but you really know as you get older, you think there's no way the year gets faster because time is time, but it feels faster. Every year I'm like, it feels faster. We were just here. We were just getting ready for Project Elf yesterday. And even when I think about like raising my children, there's just such a rush to do everything so fast and that grow up so fast. And not the grow up like be responsible, but live. Don't forget to live while you're building that career, while you're raising all that money, while you're taking care of other people's children, but maybe not your own. Like pause, sit down. I have 3 alarms during the day on my phone at 9, noon and 3 that are to breathe. And, it's a funny joke because like you breathe all day. But when I first put them on and brought them into work, my team was like, oh my gosh.
He's breathing.
Here she goes with her weird thing.
She's breathing.
And now it's like, when do we breathe again? Like, well, really, we can do it anytime. Y'all know we can really stop what we're doing and go ahead and breathe.
Time to breathe.
But we all stop and we choose 3, 4, or 5 of the breathe in, hold, breathe out. And somebody gets to take a turn. We're going to do it 3, 4, or 5 times. And one, it's the proven way to slow your nervous system down. So when I say breathe, I literally mean just stop. You don't have to I don't care how busy you are, you don't have to have a lot of time to do that. The 3 full breaths in and out take you what?
6 seconds, maybe.
A minute.
Well, 3 in, 3 out.
Yeah. Yeah, I just
6
did it.
times 3 is 18.
While you were talking about it, all of a sudden I'm like,
there's a great Pearl Jam song called Just Breathe.
Oh, it's my favorite Pearl Jam song.
but do you understand any of the words? Be honest.
You have to.
Well, no, and comedians make jokes about that. Like, you just go really fast.
Elton John has a song like that. I was just listening to it, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. Do you know the words to Goodbye Yellow Brick Road?
I know the chorus.
I dare you to recite Goodbye Yellow Brick Road.
And that's a wrap.
He's not going to ask that question, right? I don't really have to sing Yellow Brick Road.
No, you don't.
That'll be our music as we end this podcast.
Goodbye, Yellow Brick Road.
Yeah.
Like most people know that part.
Everyone knows that part, but then you try to do the lyrics and it's crazy.
The trick when you don't know the lyrics is watermelon. Mouth it slow. No one knows.
No one knows you're just saying watermelon? I'm going to try that. I never know the words. All the words.
Do it. You can speed it up. You can slow it down. It's very effective.
Very, very effective. Well, listen, thank you so much.
I appreciate you guys.
So amazing talking with you.
Yeah.
You really made the time that I have to spend with Preston much more enjoyable.
Right? Same.
He never brings me golfing, so this is the only time I get to see him.
Or gives you clubs or anything.
You have to get down to under a 10.
Yeah, it's true.
Like it's
and you guys have known each other for a while.
A long time. It's a deep history. I don't like to talk about it. He has something that he
told me offline.
Yeah.
Oh,
he holds that over me. Like,
yeah.
I coached his daughter in soccer.
Yeah.
We were a championship team. And now his daughter coaches soccer.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
You inspired her.
You were. You're an inspiration.
You're an inspiration.
You're an inspiration. Celeste, thank you so much.
Thanks
where can people find you? Where can people find the Christmas Box?
CelesteEdmunds.com, thechristmasbox.org. They both lead to the other somewhere. And Garbage Bag Girls on Amazon. And if you're an Audible person,
it's a good read.
Did you narrate it?
I did narrate it.
Okay.
I thought writing it was hard. Reading?
A lot of good lessons in here.
Yeah.
And hey,
it'll open your mind.
'Tis the season. If you're thinking about making a contribution somewhere, you could do a lot worse than these two organizations right now.
Yeah, the other side, Christmas box, wherever your heart calls for you to be. Mm-hmm. You can volunteer, make a donation.
Find your village.
Find your village at the other side.
That's a great way to wrap this up.
Yep.
And that's a wrap. Thank you. Come back and see us.
Thanks, Celeste.
Anytime.
Thank you for listening to the Know Your Ship podcast presented by eHub. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review.